Welcome to the National Women's Fitness Academy podcast. We're here to talk about women's health, female hormones, body image, and all things health and fitness.
Hello girls, and welcome to another episode of the Women's Fitness Academy's podcast. I'm your host, Sig, one of the WFA's educators and a women's online coach. I'd like to first thank you all so much for tuning in, giving us so much feedback over the last few months from restarting the podcast. Part of this is obviously to inspire and educate you all, and what a wonderful gift it is that I have to be able to be one of the hosts to share that with you all girls. So yes, just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you from the bottom of, the Women's Fitness Academies for all of you sending us your feedback and enjoying our podcast. So today I've got Kim Leggett, who is a former Miss Universe from Malaysia. She is a face-to-face coach with over decades of experience in health and fitness. Not only that, she's also competed in numerous competitions like WBFF, IFBB, as a fitness model, and she specializes in body transformations and strength work as well. And you know what? Just like every type of girl, she's also had her fair share of experiences from being unhealthy to overweight to underweight and everything in between that. And we're going to be covering a lot of that in today's podcast. And this is why I've invited her to share all of this with us. So Kim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. That was such a great introduction. I love it.
Good, I'm glad.
Thanks for being here too. Love it.
I love it. Awesome. So let's first start with how you got into, not fitness modeling, into becoming Miss Universe. Like how did that come about?
It's one of those funny things, like Instagram or Facebook have these memories where you look back, and that was now 10 years ago. Like, it's crazy for me to think that that was such a long time ago. But I think like many girls, you look up to these models and these beauty queens, and I was one of them as well. So I thought, wow, wouldn't it be amazing to be on that stage? Look how beautiful they are. Look how confident they are. And the thing that I liked most was that they weren't just about how they looked. They all seemed to have these impressive careers. They were businesswomen, they were entrepreneurs, and they all had something about them that to me was an X factor. So I thought, wow, if I could be one of them, how incredible and what an achievement. So it was one of those things. It was just a dream. When I was 18, they were doing a little casting in Malaysia. I'm from an island, so I'm from like a really small place. I'd think in Australian terms, it's the equivalent of Tassie, maybe smaller. So really small place. And they were doing a casting call. So they came around, and I was 18 at the time. So I said to my mom, can I, join? She actually said no. So against my parents' wishes, I actually submitted a submission online. I got a call back within a few hours. So I had to break the news to my parents. And I said, look, I know you kind of said no, but I kind of want to do this thing. So long story short, I did the application, went through, and then I ended up getting to the casting call. And, a couple of roadblocks along the way, I ended up having to join a TV show to do it as well. So it was kind of like a America's Next Top Model kind of deal where they put like 20 girls in a house. We had to do challenges, really full on. But in the end, I ended up winning as well. So it was one of those whirlwind things. But in that time, because I was so young, I was only 18, I actually grew up a lot along the way. So I kind of fell into it almost because I didn't think I was going to win. My parents weren't keen on it. I did modeling here and there as a teenager leading up to that, but nothing to that scale. Again, because I'm from such a small place, modeling is like, I was part of the mall fashion show in the local supermarket. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't anything major that you'd do in Australia. So the fact that I won that and I was 18 was just like a whirlwind and such a dream come true. That then kind of really catapulted me into the world of like media. And I had to kind of learn really quickly how to, public speak, be in front of people, deal with different personalities. All the while, deep in my heart, I'm just a tomboy. So growing up, I was really sporty. I was into track and field, all these kind of other sports that, you do as a kid. So the fact that I was now a beauty queen was kind of like this other side of my personality. And in my reign as Miss Universe Malaysia, I tried to kind of mesh the two. So in a way, I try to be the Miss Universe Malaysia that was a bit more sporty, that was a little bit more into fitness, because I'd never really seen that side of a Miss Universe before. So I try to kind of make that my standout feature as the reigning queen at that time. And yeah, it kind of just really changed my life when I kind of did that. So the rest is history, really.
That's so cool. I love the fact that you've mentioned that you just placed a little bit of a what's a word I'm looking for, like more of your uniqueness into it, because like you said, with the models, you know, it's usually like the dresses, the glamour, and you're like, you come from like a tomboy personality.
Yeah.
No, screw this. I'm going to show you like who I am. And you know what? I think that's such a beautiful thing, because not only in the fitness industry, people tend to get scared about showing their true colors because of judgment, the fear, or the uncertainty around it. So what did that teach you? Because obviously you won it for actually showing your true self. But from that, you also mentioned you had, from that experience, it's taught you a lot.
Yeah, I think just because I was so young, I was only 18. So I was the youngest in the house, and I think I'm in the history books, let's say I'm the youngest winner for Malaysia as well. So, you know, I had to grow up fast. I had to move away from home. I had to kind of spend time with all these experts. I had to go to media events. I had to, you know, learn to mingle with a lot of these older people who are, you know, some of these people are pretty prominent in the industry. You know, they were like, some of them were like sultans or kings. And I remember I would go home sometimes to my mom, or, you know, call her or something, and I would say, oh, you know, I met so-and-so, and she would be like, do you know who this is? So, you know, sometimes I was so, not to say naive, but I was just so myself, and I tried to not let knowing who these people are affect how I spoke to them. Obviously polite, and you know, I wasn't rude or anything, but it just made me realize that, you know, you got to approach situations calmly. You got to you know, learn on your feet. You got to adapt to different situations. But I also try to learn in that time that, you know, it's not all it's cracked up to be either. In terms of being in the media spotlight, you don't really get your privacy anymore, and there are a lot of expectations that get put on you, and that you don't actually have to abide by these, you know, boxes that people expect you to be. At the time, because I was such a tomboy, you know, I would get criticized for my weight a lot. I used to be so sporty or so muscular that people would comment like, oh, she's not skinny enough to be a Miss Universe. So, you know, I had a lot of backlash in that way from time to time, but I tried to really just stay in my lane, know why I was there, know kind of why I wanted to be a representative for my country. And yeah, in the way I learned a lot about myself. I learned how to be a woman. I learned how to fend off critics as well, and just be true to myself in the sense that, you know, I don't have to live up to what other people expected of me, but it was there. I should just do it from me as well. So it's a hard one. You kind of learn along the way. A lot of it was in retrospect, looking back, thinking, oh, I wish, you know, I didn't, let's say, let this person's criticism affect me. But yeah, I definitely took a lot away from it. But yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, you look back, you kind of wish you might have done something a bit differently, because I was so young, but at the same time, I wouldn't be who I am today if not for that, having that experience as well.
I love that. That's so cool, because I know you mentioned already that the criticism, that's a huge thing in the modeling industry. You know, like a lot of girls will be like, oh, she's not skinny enough, she's too muscular, she's this, she's that. How did you go about the criticism? Because that can be quite tough to take on.
Yeah, no, to be honest, just growing up as well, I was always just very self-critical anyway. So like we said before, and like you said to the viewers, that I was, you know, I've been overweight. I would never say I've been underweight, but I've been overweight definitely. And growing up, I was never one to put on a swimsuit, go to a pool party and be comfortable. The moment that anyone had seen me ever in a swimsuit or a bikini, you know, let alone a swimsuit, let's say, was the finale of my Miss Universe competition in Malaysia. Like, that was the first time, because before that I wasn't comfortable too. So I'd always been my harshest critic. So then to have other people critique me, not to say that compounded it, but it just made me go like, you know what, like, I'm not going to prove it to you, but I'm going to prove it to myself, that I'm going to be this confident person, or the better version of myself, but not for other people, but for myself, that I want to be this person that's confident, I want to be that person that, if I was someone else, I looked up to me. So yeah, it was one of those things that like, I try to not let it affect you. When you're young, it's hard because, you aren't really that, you're not really a rock that can withstand these things. You have to learn it with time because, you do take it to heart. You're young, you're slightly impressionable, but I try to just make sure that I just stayed in my own lane, didn't really listen per se, because everyone's got an opinion. But when it comes to you and your physicality, yeah, it's a bit of a sensitive issue, but I think everyone just has to, know that you're beautiful in your own right, and just kind of celebrate your own flaws as well.
I love the fact that you mentioned that everyone has an opinion because it's so true. Like
Yeah.
even those who are so lovely, they'll say something to you, and that's fine. But those who are very critical, I think those comments just stay within you, and you're like, "Oh my God, is this true?" But obviously,
Yeah.
it's not. And like you mentioned, it's quite hard as a young girl or even boy, like getting that criticism onto
Yeah,
you. It's just like
that's right.
how can you not let it affect you?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's because it's like they don't even know you, so they're going off of what they see. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So sometimes I would just be so taken aback by the fact that people are saying rude things or harsh comments because they don't know anything beyond what they see. And I would just be, yeah, so taken aback because people can be actually really harsh. Yeah, even in the fitness industry, I think when I see comments that girls make, um, whether about themselves or about other people, it's, we need to be a bit kinder and a bit nicer. It doesn't take much.
Mm, yeah. Well, let's move on to the fitness industry because I can totally relate to people being really critical
Yeah.
and judgmental. And your transition from the modeling into the fitness industry, how was that transition for you?
So when I finished Miss Universe, I had two options, right? So I had either the option to just stay in Malaysia, be a part of the media industry, and just see where that took me, or I decided to just move to Australia, finish my education, and then decide what to do. So I came here. I was going to do a media degree, which I finished, but at the same time, I continued training because, again, I was a tomboy and I couldn't let go of my athletic side. So, I'd be in the gym all the time. And you just kind of learn to love it as well, because if you're doing it day in, day out, it becomes part of your life. I was training at a gym in Brunswick, so it's called Australian Strength Performance. And my coach at the time actually said to me, "You'd actually make a really good coach." So I kind of was like, "Oh yeah, like okay, people just say that anytime that you're, I guess, above average in the gym, or you can squat with a bit of tempo, people will say, "Oh, you should be a coach." But I didn't really take it seriously until later on. I thought, you know what, like I actually want to make a career out of this. I actually feel like I want to put my passion, which is also nutrition, a big part that I love in my job is helping people with nutrition and food. And I'm also studying another degree, which is nutrition and dietetics. So I thought, you know what, like if I was able to do the training side of things, teach people how to train, I can also then pass on that knowledge of nutrition to people as well. And what a great combination that would be if I could do both. So I then decided to did my certs, and then decided to just really stick into it and, be a PT full time. So it was an interesting transition. Kind of left all that TV stuff aside, and I decided, I'm just gonna do it and commit to it. So haven't looked back, and it's been great.
I love that. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of commitment to just like push yourself into that uncomfortable situation and be like, okay, it's either I stay comfortable and be in Malaysia, or I'll go to Australia and do something completely different and just see how you go. And I love that because so many of us, and I can speak from experience, we doubt our ability of doing certain things, and it just holds us into this like comfortable bubble. But then eventually when you just, step out a little bit, or, put your toes in the water and realize what's actually possible, the world is just like literally opens to so many opportunities.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think as well, like at the time I used to find it difficult to see many female coaches around. And I thought, why is that? So I thought, you know what, like, I kind of wanted to be one of the ones that was respected, someone that, you go around, you go, you know what, like this person I'd actually want to train with because she's either stronger than me or I can look up to her. So that was another part of it. I thought, I think more females need to be comfortable standing alongside men in the industry. Like why is it at the time it really seemed like a male dominant industry? So I'm kind of glad that that's shifting a little bit now. So I see more and more females getting involved and setting aside that cardio is the only way mentality. You know what I mean? Actually getting in the weights room, because even now I can see that fear that girls have when they walk into the weights room of the gym, and it shouldn't be like that. So I think being educated, knowing how to lift, you don't have to be a coach per se, but at least learn the right technique, learn from people that know their stuff, and you'll be more comfortable as a female in fitness.
Yes. You know what? Cardio, I have so much to say about this. I'm like trying to like put all my thoughts in one place, but I love the fact that you mentioned that right now, and I think over the last couple of years there has been this beautiful change in the fitness industry where it's not so male dominant. It's
I agree.
Giving women opportunity to be part of the health and fitness, but in their own way, and showing, like you and I, we're showing the next generation that, hey, cardio is actually not beneficial for you to gain strength and build muscle. It's for more cardiovascular health. And for them to realize these changes, it's just going to make such a big difference. And I feel as if like in the next year or maybe 5 years, it's just going to change even better.
Yeah, I think every now and then, when I either look on social media, I see more and more females becoming a part of the fitness industry, but in that way where they're trying to, I guess, inspire or influence people to start being more comfortable, barbell training, squatting, hitting for strength, doing all these things that used to be such a, male dominant space, or, people would turn their nose up. And I'll be honest, I was one of them. I used to be, how did I at the time lose what I thought was unwanted weight per se to be Miss Universe? I would just spend hours on the treadmill. I was doing that cardio thing. I thought lifting weights would make me bulky. It's funny for me to think now that about 5 years ago, it's not even that long ago, I used to not even care about strength. It was all about aesthetics. It was all about just having a look, where now, of course, looking fit and strong is great, but I actually like being strong. It's actually kind of cool to lift more than your male counterparts sometimes. You know what I mean? And I think as a PT as well, you face that judgment in everyday life where males will say, nah, I don't really want to train with you because you're a female. And I hate that it's because you're a female. Like, why does it matter? So I feel like, I can see that the times are changing, and hopefully in the next 5 years, we will see a bit more equality in the space where there isn't this divide between males and females. It's just everyone can just lift, and, there's no stigma between being manly or strong or, having any sort of like negativity towards the gym or weight training, because it shouldn't be that way.
No, not at all. I totally agree with that. And I love that you mentioned about, oh my God, I literally just lost my train of thought. Oh, yes, there, I got it back. So you mentioned that you were training more for aesthetics. Now it's not just for you to look good, but it's also for you to feel strong. And I find that it's very common. I don't know about you, because of the transition you made from modeling into fitness, and, in that subconscious mind, it's like, oh, I need to look good to be accepted, yada, yada. But now that narrative has changed because you're doing more strength work and you're realizing, hey, it's not just about me looking good. It's about me actually feeling strong, like not being injured. It's, carrying myself more confidently.
Yeah, I feel like, people get a lot of validation from looking great. It's always about how they look, the aesthetics, and I think when you realize how empowering being strong is, that's when that shift happens, because you realize I'm actually capable of lifting or doing this, which I thought was never possible. So, I feel like more emphasis needs to be put on the fact that when you train for strength, you're developing muscles that actually will help you look better too. So it's one of those things that the two actually help each other out. They're there for a purpose, like they're functional. All these movements we should be able to do, they help us with movement, they help us with health, longevity, all these great benefits. So I feel like if anyone's just doing gym work or spending time in the gym to just look good and spends hours on the treadmill, you're missing out, because there's so much that you could be doing to actually help your mental health, and prolong your longevity in your life.
Do you think it's an ego thing? Because I don't know, I don't know if it's related just to women, but I can totally see this in men as well, like training more for the aesthetic side of things, for either like having bigger biceps or like a shredded abs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think a little bit, but yeah, I just think that there has to be a bit more emphasis on people educating themselves in the right manner. So the problem with social media, so there's the good and the bad, right? So the good is that you've got heaps of access to information, but the bad side is everyone is an expert. And sometimes these people don't know very much. They know the wrong things. So, sometimes I see like clickbait where it's like lose 10 kilos and how is it? They're doing all these silly things, and it actually makes me angry. But at the same time, people believe it. That's why these myths still exist, where people think that they have to do these things to get a result that they want, where there's a better way. If you told me like 10 years ago that I had to lift some weights for 45 minutes, eat a lot of food, and I could still look as good as I thought I could just doing cardio, I'd rather do that than not eat and just do cardio. So I feel like it's just about learning, people being more educated, and looking up to the right role models as well. I think, don't just follow someone because of how they look. Because again, it's not all about what's on the surface. It's about what someone knows, their integrity, things like that.
I love that. Integrity comes a long way. And especially, I think, I don't know about you, but these days I can see who's faking it and who's actually making it, because you can tell someone who is very into just like the quick fixes. And I'm referring more to, PTs and coaches out there.
Yeah.
It's more like that quick fix. Oh, like get those shredded abs in like 6 weeks, or lose kilos in 10 weeks. Like, that whole like rubbish for triggering people to be like, come do my
the impulse buying.
Yes, yeah. But slowly again, like it comes down to education, and it comes also down to the person realizing that, hey, if this person is doing all these quick fixes, but then the next person next door is actually educating you and be like, hey, you can lose the 10 kilos, but it may take you 3 months or 4. Like it's a short-term thing.
Yeah. Look, we all want what we can't have, and we all want things really quick too. So, I think just if people learn that with time, everything comes in time. And if you're patient, if you put in the work, the long term is probably more worth it than the short term gain. Yeah. So, sometimes people say, oh, I want to lose X amount of weight. And I say, okay, but we need to, let's say, reverse diet, or we need to start eating more first before we can lose more. People don't want to do that. They don't really want to invest. But once they gain your trust and they understand that, like there's a reason behind this, you kind of get them on side, and then people realize like, look, like that actually is a smarter way of doing it. So sometimes you got to weigh up, what people want in the short term versus what's probably going to be better for them. So I think that's where being a coach comes to play, where you have to kind of be devil's advocate a little bit. Like, yeah, I want to give you what you want, but in the way that's probably best for you, or best for both of us, where you're not just giving them something that you don't really believe in. So I would never put someone, let's say, through a fat loss phase if I didn't think that they were ready for it either. I'd actually tell them why, whether that's good or not, whether that's a good way to approach it or not. It's more that's right though. So, I just feel like there's too much clickbait. Everyone just wants a quick fix, like I get it, but at the same time, you gotta kind of learn what's best and what's the healthiest way to approach it too. Because there's some long-term negative side effects too if you don't do it in the right way.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that you mentioned that you're honest with your clients and, potential people that come on board, because honesty comes a very long way. If you're honest from the get-go about a person who's wanting to lose weight, but they're not in a safe position to do so, as coaches, we must tell them that. We can't just be like, yeah, cool, I'll take you on, let's do it. And then, 3 months down the track, they're sick, or they're binge eating, or all these health issues occur. And at the end of the day, you just have to blame yourself, because you're honest with them at the start. Because the client has no understanding whether it's right or wrong because obviously they haven't been educated around that. This is where our role as a educator, as a coach, we get to change their mindset around that by being like, cool, yes, we can lose the weight, but we need to do it this way so you can maintain it long term, not just for 2 months during summer.
That's right. And like, I think this is why I think becoming a coach was something I wanted to do, is because I've been there. I've been the tomboy. Yes, I've been the one that's overweight, that wasn't confident. Yes, I've been a beauty queen and been in front of millions of people. Yes, I've achieved results where I was happy with how I looked physically, things like that. But the way I got there wasn't the right way. I had amenorrhea for 3 years. I lost my period because I starved myself and I over-exercised. So when I tell people this, or I tell my clients, especially females, it's coming from a good place because I've been there and I don't want them to have to suffer, go through that, because at the end of the day, as much as it is about looking good, we need to kind of understand that there's a health side of it as well. You want to do it to be healthier. You want to be making sure that as females, we're functioning optimally when it comes to our hormones, things like that, where people start to forget that because you just want to look good. But really, there's all these other things that we need to consider as well. So, the fitness industry, especially for females, it's hard, how do you filter what's right and what's wrong? It really comes down to, again, following the role models, and being honest as well. If you are someone that is a coach and you're trying to educate people, make sure that you're doing it for coming from a good place, and you do what's right for the client.
I love that you mentioned that, because it had taken me a lot of work and years to transition that mindset from just focusing on my body composition to actually focusing on my health, not just like inner health, but like mental health, cognitive, like for work purposes, like everyday things. And you just notice this transition that it's not just about me having a flat stomach anymore. It's actually about me being fit enough to carry the groceries or, do my washing without the back pain. It's those little things that people
that's right.
don't usually encounter for till they actually realize, oh my God, it's made such a big impact.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think when people start to get into fitness, even if it's just one or two sessions a week or half an hour, at least you're doing something. It's about movement. We were put on this earth to move. So the fact that our lives have in ways become very sedentary isn't right. We need to be moving. So I hope that, if anyone's out there's contemplating going to the gym, just do it. You won't regret it. I know that sometimes starting is the hardest part, but once you do, the benefits come quick, and you'll start to love it.
How did you start in the gym?
I think because I was sporty, like I said before, so I was very athletic, and then really proper gym training was when I had to kind of get prepared for Miss Universe. That's kind of when I dabbled in the gym. Whether I say I was good or not, I wouldn't say I was, but it kind of got me started. And then after that, when I came here, I just sort of would look on bodybuilding.com, educate myself. I'd read workout routines, and I kind of just got it started from there. So I tried to teach myself a lot of things. And then that's when I decided, like, look, you know what? I ain't an expert at this, so it's probably better to go ask and learn from someone that actually knows their stuff. So that's when I decided to look for a coach. And that's when it really kind of started properly, is when I sought out proper help.
I love that you mentioned bodybuilding.com. I literally, oh my God, it's bringing up so many memories when I first started my journey doing that, and also searching YouTube workouts.
Oh, yeah, gosh.
Just doing that in the gym or following my favorite bodybuilder's diet. Oh,
God. It's always oatmeal, almond milk, blueberries, egg whites, like chicken. Oh, God. I could recite it to you because all the same.
Rice.
That's right. Yeah, no. Cottage cheese or like casein at night. Like, oh, God.
Oh,
I've been there.
So funny. The things we had gone through to where we're at right now, it's so funny. So funny.
But like, I guess that's what I like about it too, is that, with time, there's change and there's things that adapt. And, you know, I used to be really into paleo. I thought that that was the way. And then you learn that that's not the way. And, you know, the fitness industry is always changing. There's ebbs and flows. And I think that's also what I like about it, because there's always something new. Something always gets debunked. One day coconut oil is good for you. The other day coconut oil is bad for you. So this thing's always changing. And I think it's good because it keeps you on your feet. But it also means that as a coach, you got to filter through again, like what's good, what's not good for your clients. So yeah, it's interesting. It's something that's always evolving. And I feel like, again, like there's something for everyone as well in fitness too.
Yeah, so true. I love that you mentioned with the ebbs and flow, because that's with life as well. Like it's always going to change through, you know, as we mentioned, you and I, we've changed a lot from just focusing on aesthetics. It's more like inner health, the performance base, the strength. And regarding research as well, like what are some resources that are you looking into right now to educate yourself a little bit more?
At the moment, I think because I was focusing more on my studies, so that kind of educates me a lot, and that's a lot to take in on top of clients. So because I study a nutrition and dietetics degree, that's very nutrition based. Training wise, in my time as I worked for Clean Health, I did all their courses. So that actually was last year was a good learning curve for me, because I really stuck into the training. So I learned from Sebastian Oreb. I went and did his seminars. So, you know, I did his strength systems courses, level 1, 2, and 3. I did all of that. So that was, for me, was a big chunk of a year spent on training and development. So in a way, it's great as well to educate and learn and upskill, but there comes a time where you also need to apply. So for me, this year was taking what I've learned and applying. So for me, this year is about, you know, giving back to my clients, trying to apply what I've learned for myself and for them. So for me, I'm trying to take a backseat a bit, just kind of put in what I've learned over the past year into practice. And then hopefully at the end of the year, I'll think about what's next for me to upskill and learn too.
I love that. So good. As coaches, before we started recording, we were talking about how, you know, we've transitioned from doing face-to-face to online. However, now you're doing a combination of both of them.
Yep.
How is that working out for you and the studies?
Yeah, no, look, it's a lot. I'm always been someone that's very organized and is pretty good at time managing. So I can fit it in, but I'll be honest, it is a bit of a squeeze. You got to learn to balance and say no to things sometimes, because I'm an all or nothing type of person. Balancing both, it is difficult, but I feel like for me, because I valued so much face-to-face and actually helping people on a one-on-one basis, doing the online was something that I thought, you know what, I love it. And it's something I feel like as PTs, given this COVID situation and this current environment that we have to deal with, is something that's probably going to be good for us to have in our back pocket. I feel like as PTs, we've learned in the course in the past 2 years that you need to pivot online for financial security, maybe number one, but also because it's good passive income. As PTs, I feel like sometimes we have to think long-term, look ahead. So what's my 5-year plan? What's my 10-year plan? And are we going to be training in a gym all day? Like, what's the next step, really? You know what I mean? When you're doing it in the trenches, let's say doing 40 sessions a week, 45 sessions a week, it's exhausting. It's that's a lot of conversations to have. That's a lot of oh, Sally's husband this, you know, all these stories you hear every day, lots of personalities you have to deal with. It's a lot. So I feel like for me, because I am a bit of an introvert, I need to recharge with a bit of quiet time. So I feel like I needed that balance of having face-to-face, having some me time, and then also helping people on an online basis where, you know, the contact is, let's say, just Zoom calls, but they're doing stuff on their own accord. So I just do the programming, which is good. It works for me. Online is something that I feel like everyone should have. If you're a PT and you think that you want passive income as well, I feel like in terms of scaling, it's something that's really important to start to learn or start to think about. Because again, like down the track, if you're going to own a gym, if you want to start being an educator or being someone that teaches coaches how to coach, that's probably something to think about. But online is something I think as well that with changing technologies, different apps, it's the place to be, because that's how you can grow your business and start to actually put yourself out there a bit too, or people will start to know about you too, you know? So that's kind of why I did it. Also because when I worked with Clean Health, I was an online coach predominantly. That was my role. So I had all these clients that I wanted to continue coaching. So I thought, I got to continue. But no, it's been great. It's a lot of work though. So I will say anyone thinking about it, don't think that you're just at home sitting on a beach sipping some coconut water and it's all fine and dandy. It's a lot of work, but it is great too, because there's a lot of flexibility that you then allow yourself if you do go down that avenue.
And it takes a lot, like you mentioned before, like it is a lot of work compared to face-to-face training, because with the face-to-face training, depending on what style of coaching everyone does, usually it's 45 to an hour of training, and then it's just like, cool, see you later till
that's right.
There's no there in between contact, where with online coaching, it's like, cool, you speak to them, whether it's like weekly or fortnightly, but there's the work in between that as well. The nutrition, it's the training. Maybe they're, messaging you out throughout the week. So that's an ongoing process for all online coaches. And it's something that people need to be aware of, not to idolize so much those who are doing online, thinking it's going to be the next best thing for them, because it's an extra load of work for you. And if you're shit at managing your time, then guess what? You're going to be doing a shit job as an online coach.
Yeah, I think as well, like as an online coach, you kind of have to know where to set boundaries, or you have to be quite upfront with your clients in the sense that you have to have quite clear lines as to where you help, where you aren't contactable. In terms of, people think because you're someone that is just an avatar on a phone that you're available 24/7, where we have weekends, we have times where my phone will go off and I have to actually think to myself, I'll answer that tomorrow, because it still works. So I think you just have to understand that work-life balance and know when to turn off, like when to plug off, because at the same time that it does become quite consuming if you're just always on your phone all the time. So knowing where to draw the line and say, look, like, I'm available Monday to Friday, I'll answer then. So again, it's about knowing your systems and then putting that in place. And then I think anyone that tries that or goes down that avenue, you can be successful.
Yeah, setting boundaries is one of the things that's helped my business as well, because when I first started, I was just like, yeah, just contact me whenever.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll reply to you straight away. And like, then, when you say that, guess what happens? Everyone's going to contact you on the weekends, or even like Sunday evening when you're just relaxing. You're like, oh my God. Like,
yeah, no. Yeah. And then you get like the question mark, like, hello, have you not seen my message? So no, I get it. Totally.
I love it. So in terms of coaching right now, are we doing more face-to-face, or like it's sort of like a balance of the two?
Yeah, I do both. I think again, like I love what I do, so I find it quite hard to say no to people. So I do probably full-time hours PT 101, and then on the time outside of that, so typically afternoons, that's when I spend time more so on my online business. So I'm trying to build my online business. I've written programs over this holiday period just for people who want the programming but without the contact. So it's just that sort of like 8 weeks, this is what I'll do for you. And trying to kind of get that side of things organized, because I was sort of doing more online coaching where there's contact. So, I do Zoom calls, things like that. So I'm just trying to put things into play where, I either have an app where it's just all of me doing the training videos and people can just have online programs there, or, kind of just thinking of what to do next. It's one of those things that I think online, there's a lot of avenues you could go down, and I haven't really decided which way I want to go about it yet, but I'm definitely enjoying it. And I would love to just kind of grow that more too, because I feel like that's something I actually enjoy doing.
I love that. And you know what? There's that saying, if you enjoy doing what you love, you must continue doing it.
That's right. Yeah. I think as well, just online allows you to help people not in one place. So, I can help people around the world. Doesn't matter the time zone, doesn't matter where they're from, doesn't matter necessarily the language either. So it just broadens your scope a bit too. And I feel like that's something that's really appealing to me.
Yeah, I love that. Helping as many people as possible.
That's right. No, it's true.
So good. What are your plans for 2022?
2022, that's a good question. Look, business-wise, I'd say definitely pivoting online a little bit more. So bringing in online programs, just kind of refining my services a little bit. So just kind of fine tuning things on the online front, keeping up the face to face. That never changes. In August, I'm definitely doing WBFF. So that will be my bikini debut. So fingers crossed I do well. Again, I don't do things in halves. So I'm hoping I, can win a pro card at some stage in the WBFF. I'd love that. Apart from that, just travel hopefully too. So it'd be great to go home or go to Europe or do a little bit of that. That'd be amazing. And then strength goals. One of my biggest goals is probably to hit like a 150 squat or deadlift at some stage. Again, I used to be someone that never would have said that. So times have changed. But yeah, I'd say those are my main goals this year. How about you?
So good. I love that. To be honest, my goals for business wise, it's expanding my online business. So it's more like towards the education, not only just the one-on-one coaching. In terms of fitness and health, at the moment, I've been slightly more body composition
focused.
Yeah, but not so much just for aesthetics, but also for rehabbing like certain past injuries that I've had. So working on that and then working my way back onto, squatting and deadlifting really heavy, whether it will be 120, 130. We'll see where we go with that.
Oh, watch this space. I love it.
I know, right? Yeah. So it's going to be
good.
I'm really excited towards all of that.
Yeah, I feel like, people have gone through 2020, 2021 was meant to be the year that things were more normal, but I'm really hoping that 2022 is the year where things start to be back to what it was. And I feel like people's optimism's back and people are making bigger plans this year. So no, I think it's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be awesome. Kim, before we finish, where can our followers find you?
Really simple on Instagram. What else? TikTok as well. I just joined TikTok. Gosh. At Coach Kim Leggett is where you can find me.
I love it. Awesome. And in terms of face-to-face coaching, are you taking on new clients at the moment or are we capping it?
Look, you can always send me a message. I'll hear out anyone's inquiries and I'll always revert back depending on my availability. So I'm still taking on one-on-one clients. Definitely coming up to full capacity, I will say, but if you send me a message, I'll see what I can do for you.
I love it. Well, there you go, girls. You've heard the story. You've heard all of the information, what it's like to be an online coach, a face-to-face coach, getting into the fitness industry. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed today's podcast. If you did, please share it, recommend it, tag myself, tag Kim, and tag the Women's Fitness Academy. Until next time, train for performance base and not just for aesthetics.
That's right. Thanks so much.